Hello and welcome back to another episode on the channel by me, TheWiseJames. Wesley Winter, the guy who I recently did a reaction video to his journalism on the Essex protests, if you've seen that or not, appeared on GB News, I think last night. So I'm going to watch and see what they said to him and what he said. Should be interesting. Because from my perspective, the police caused that issue. They literally directed a group of counter-protesters up to another bunch of protesters, then protected the people they had brought there, and then had to escort them away because of the danger they had created. And then they've tried to blame everyone else. They've not taken any responsibility for police failures. It's all, they've arrested loads of people, charged, I think, some of them, and blamed themselves for none of it. When it was clearly all the police's fault. Like, clearly. They say they're impartial, but they clearly were not impartial. They brought one side here to them, then protected that one side, then helped that one side escape. Like, whoops. Sorry, let's get into it. So this is the video.
Get out, get out! She was still in the car at that point. And she said, someone's outside my car. She said, there's one guy by the window and he's braking the car next to her, to the left and the right. And he's swearing at her saying, get out of the fucking car, bitch. My heart's racing at this point. I was thinking they're going to pull her out or beat her up, or the car was even get burned with her in it.
Okay, well, look, minor apology there for a little bit of language that you might have heard, but we're all adults here. Well, Wesley Winter joins me now. Thank you very much. Now, we've actually spoken before a little bit, so go on, if I summarise that accurately there. So sorry that your wife is obviously as upset as she was there, so you don't mind seeing anyone like that. But broadly speaking, you sympathise with the idea why people are taking to the streets, is that right?
Oh, yeah, but obviously it got hijacked into rioting towards the end, but, the coming days after what happened in Southport, the main message was to protect the children. Everyone was kind of against legal immigration. Obviously, there was speculation about who the killer was. No one was actually aware, so that led to more kind of misinformation in the media. But the main message was protect the children and just in general, the safeguarding around children.
So when we see things like what's on the front of tomorrow's Daily Telegraph, police not ready for summer of unrest, and we...
They're not ready, trust me. They're not ready. I'm not being funny. The entire British government could have had this problem solved a year ago. They could have stopped the boats yesterday. I've already told them how to solve it without breaking any international laws. Literally, I've already told the government how to fix this problem. And Nigel Farage, the entire of Reform, I've told them all how to do it without breaking international law. And the whole world would respect us for it. They wouldn't think less of us. And the problem would be finished. There would be no more illegal migration. And if the problem gets worse, you scale it up. If the problem got better, you can scale it down. Like, the problem would be finished. This wouldn't even be a conversation. But unfortunately, you all just don't listen. I'm sorry, you think that just because some twat is in a suit on TV, they know better than me. And I can't help you with delusions like that. I just can't help you with that.
Had just another news story today, that press conference from Epping, where the police constable gave a quite bizarre press conference, what do you make about the reasons why some people might be, getting involved in a summer of unrest?
Yeah, well, the idea of rioting is a bit of a phenomenon. Why does it stem into rioting when it does start off always peaceful? You have concerned locals coming out again saying protect the children. It's a phrase that we're going to be hearing for years to come by the sounds of it. But I think what happens is people just are attracted to violence that does occur. Maybe it is aggravated, who knows? But I think at the end of the day, people feel unheard, and there's not enough is getting done quick enough. And when people don't have a solution, they're going to vent their anger.
And what I find great about the stuff that you do is that you just get right in amongst it with a little camera and a microphone, and you plonk yourself in the middle of it, and you do.
Sorry, before we get back to what Wesley Winter does, and after watching his video, I think he was doing a fantastic job of documenting what was going on around him. He did seem to try and remain as impartial as possible, even though it clearly was representing one side more than the other. But I don't like what they just said there. That, like, when everyone sees that there's no solution, like, literally, I've already solved this problem, guys. I'm not even joking. Like, look, I'm fucking serious. This problem is solved. You can just get my solution implemented and there'll be no more illegal migration. It will be over. It'll be done. Here it is. It's literally here on my Facebook. It's been here since the start of the year. Like, I don't understand why you all complain about it rather than solve it. I've already solved it. Why don't you get my solution implemented? Like, just solve the problem. Instead of whinging about it and protesting about it, get my solution implemented. Like, I have already solved this. I know it sounds stupid. I know I'm not an MP. I haven't got the power to implement the solution. But you, the people, do. Which is why I've been telling you all about it, you fucking Dylan's man. What, you think I'm doing it for self-interest? No, I want the problem solved so we can move on to other problems. More important problems. Like the torture of innocent disabled people in mental health wards in Britain. British innocent people. You know, there are more important issues than a few shitty boats that the government won't stop because they want to use as a distraction. Why do you think my solution isn't being used? It's not because it won't work. It's because they like using this as a distraction. It's easy to trick you all and make you all dance like little puppets to their strings. Fuck. Yeah, that's a illegally downloaded website. Look at that. Anyway, so stupid, man. They literally. I don't like hearing. Oh, there's no solutions. Like, I've already offered the solution. It's not my fault. Reform and GB News don't want to tell you. GB News has had this solution for months. So has every news company. So has loads of journalists. So has Nigel Farage. They don't care about solving the problem. They care about using it to leverage their self-interest, all right?
A little camera and a mic stuff that you...
And when people don't have a solution, they're going to vent their anger.
And what...
So I understand Wesley thinking nobody has a solution, but, like... I do, Wesley. Like, I do have a solution. I know you haven't heard it, because the media doesn't want you to hear it, but I will post it in the Discord chat for your channel, because I'm in there. Clown Zone invited me. I'll post it in there, mate. Honestly, I've got a solution for this problem. And no child or woman gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt with my solution. And the problem finishes. It's done. Never again. So I don't understand why you're all whinging. I don't understand it. I've literally already solved this problem.
I find great about the stuff that you do is that you...
I do think you do great work, though, Wesley. Documenting things honestly. The media doesn't do that. They give you a very skewed narrative. They pick and choose the video clips around them to try and suit their narrative. Whereas from what I saw from you were trying to be as impartial as possible, even though you clearly had your own beliefs, which I respect. So good job, mate. Good job.
You just get right in amongst it with a little camera and a microphone, and you plonk yourself in the middle of it, and you do a lot of walkthroughs, which I think are great, because then people, it's like everyone's looking at it through your eyes when you're in the middle of these situations, which is really important, I think, for people to understand what's going on. So when you see like a lot of the overt left-wing press standing up and asking questions about things like Nigel Farage putting out misinformation or helping to stir the pot, what do you hear and see when you're at some of these protests? What do you think the real reasons for them are?
Well, that's the thing. When I go out, it's very like run and gun. So I'll be speaking to ordinary locals where maybe the mainstream media will have a specific spokesperson who will speak all proper and, wear a suit or whatever, and they'll be the one who captures the headlines. But what I do is the local people, and they just speak from the heart, and they tell you the issues that are going on in their communities. So I don't know why other people, swiftly begin to riot, but it does seem like people like outsiders or whoever kind of latch onto that and use it as an excuse to.
You've also got involved, I think, am I right in saying, with some of the stand-up to racism people or some of those, so you've been in amongst that side of it as well?
Yeah, I do try to speak to both sides as and when I was.
If you watch my video of his journalist coverage on the Epping protest, he did speak to both protest groups, and he spoke to the mayor or a councillor. Right? He didn't just speak to the right-wing guys and the people having a problem with illegal migration. He also spoke to the people who were left-wing, who wanted the migrants' rights to be upheld. So he was definitely as impartial as possible.
You've probably experienced it yourself. It can be quite challenging to speak to both sides. Their concern was that they believe that there are people in these groups that are more right-wing, they call them the far right, that's up to debate, and that's the reason why they come out. But
this is the latest razor.
Silly adverts. Don't interrupt Mr. Winter.
Yeah,
So who do you think in light of that it's a good idea for what we've seen elsewhere as well, which is police to escort the Antifa brigade to somewhere near a protest outside a migrant hotel? Like, does that in
I think
your lived experience?
Yeah, I think it's a democratic right. Everyone can counter protest. Everyone has their freedom of speech. But I think sometimes it has to be, you have to have some common sense about if we put these people here, what's going to happen? There's definitely got to be, some common sense around it.
Indeed, I just want.
Yeah, like if I went and stood outside of a mental health ward with a big placard saying "Stop persecuting disabled people," I would sharply be moved on because they would claim that I was causing the patients to fear for their safety, when in reality it would be that they didn't like me highlighting medical negligence. But like, you've got to think about your actions. You can't go down to 10 Downing Street and go knock on the door because you've got something to say to the Prime Minister. You can't go and try and ring the king up on his fucking phone and be like, boop, 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 boop. Here, Charles, fucking got a money problem. How about you sell that crown, you fucking bastard? You can't do that. Like, you have to think about your actions, okay? Now, I've been involved in some protests in my life. The main protest I was involved in was a counter-war protest in 2006 by my school, Glebens. And I was on the front of newspapers up and down the country for protesting against the invasion of Iraq and Labour doing it. You probably can't tell it's me, but this was me there. I don't know if you can tell that's me in the middle. So that was me in 2006, 2003 it says actually. 2003, sorry, my mistake. 2003. So 2003, that was me protesting. And everything was going peaceful. Everything was absolutely peaceful, hunky-dory, up until some kids started shoplifting from the local Summerfield and started vandalising the village square where we were holding the protest, smashing up the bus stop, setting fire to bins. So it completely undermined the protest. And the newspapers didn't report that there was this, peaceful counter-protest. No. It was, the young run riot or the youth riot or, vandalise the village, blah, blah. We were the demons. We weren't trying to save soldiers from a needless death and being sent to a war that was a lie, because there wasn't weapons of mass destruction, and we knew that. Even though all our elders told us, of course there is, why would we invade them? For the oil! But, we were just kids. They thought they knew better. They didn't, all right? Thousands of British people died. Nobody listened to us. Anyway.
I'm keen to bring my panel up here, really, and say whatever you like. But I mean, there's the Sun's front page articulates a group of different asylum stories here. This posh hotel being taken over for migrants. I mean, one of the things that stood out for me there, Christo, was yesterday. My producer said to the Home Office, "Is this going to be a migrant hotel?" And they categorically said no.
Well,
and today it is.
That's. I mean, I'm keen to know, based on your experience, do you believe that, as I do, that people are being radicalised into this sort of behaviour, i.e. rioting, and it might have been people who perhaps started off quite moderate, who, as you say, aren't being listened to, and then actually they're moving to these extremes of behaviour, which is
I'm not being funny, right? You got to put yourself in the position of a lot of mothers, right? There's a lot of mothers up and down the UK right now who want their children to be safe, whether it's a boy, whether it's a girl. They want their children to be safe. They don't want their boys getting recruited into criminal gangs and attacking women, and they don't want their women being attacked, their girls being attacked by criminal gangs and these people who shouldn't be here, right? So if they've got no way to stop it, they're going to go to the only people who seem to be offering that solution, which is the far right. Doesn't take a genius, does it? Like, I'm serious. This problem literally could have been fixed a year ago. They could stop the boats today. They could make sure no boat can ever illegally enter British waters again. Literally, we stopped the Nazis in World War II from flying planes over here. And you're telling me we couldn't stop a few boats? Are you serious? Are you serious? Fucking hell. They want this problem. The rich people of this country want this problem because it's cheap labour. It's cheaper labour than hiring me or you. That's why it's happening. Rich people want more money. The same as every other problem we have. Rich people want more money. They want you to have less money, me to have less money, and they want more money. They want the things they sell to cost more, and the money we use to be worth less.
forgivable, but do you think that that's what's happening?
I just think in general, people who have extreme thoughts will latch on to anything that is closest to what they believe in.
I was just saying that, yeah.
Obviously, the migrant hotels, it's kind of, it's in line with stop the boats, reduce illegal immigration, but then people who have more extreme views would be like, all right, illegal migrants, migration, I'm against that, so I'm going to follow this this group. But that's with any ideology, right? If you look at maybe religions or certain groups, yeah.
What's the general tone of this Channel 4 documentary then? So did they see what you were doing online and say, can you do something for us?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so I'll find out.
Oh, you're just in it?
Yeah, I'm just in it. Yeah.
Oh, right. You've not made it.
It's the guy who did Leaving Neverland. So
yeah,
it's Dan Reed, is it?
Yeah,
he's the guy who's produced the.
Oh, I thought maybe they'd commissioned you because of the things.
No, I'm just part of it. It's told by one of the girls who was actually a victim of the stabbings,
right.
And then she kind of tells the story, and then it goes on to what happened after. And I'm guessing it's like their opinions on the riots, and I think it focuses more on that. I hope it does focus more on the girls, but I don't know.
Do you have any? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I mean, how is your wife being racially abused like that? That must be so upsetting, and for you too. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that was quite a traumatic experience.
I hope your wife's okay, bro.
So I think moving forward, whenever she sees like someone with like balaclava or like riding a bike, it's quite a scary thought.
But you know what it is? I'm literally the same. I'll see someone with a balaclava on a motorbike or an electric bike who's clearly a drug dealer, and my instant thought is concern, because they're clearly a dangerous individual who carries weapons. Like, and I'm not being funny. I'm literally the founder of a religion. Like, there's a bullseye on my back for religious extremists. Like, if religious extremists wanted to take out, a problem like me, they would kill me. Like, religious people kill people like me. Founders of other religions that contradict their beliefs, like, they kill me, man. So when I see someone with a balaclava on a motorbike or electric bike, I'm very concerned, because that's the exact sort of assassination technique that would be used to kill members of, certain things. And there is a bullseye on my back, unfortunately, for the wrong reasons.
But yeah.
Is that an ongoing situation?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, just obviously she was quite new to England because she migrated from China to the UK. And then when she, not knowing the types of clothing people wear and who different people are, she wasn't quite familiar.
I was the same when I moved up north, right? I was the same. I grew up in the biggest village in England. It's called Cranley. It's probably about 15,000 people at most, right? Now, there's in Newcastle and Gateshead, you're talking like 500,000 people, maybe. And I used to be able to always tell by the way people dressed, their style, the music they liked, the people they hung around with, the things they did and their behaviour. Like, you could tell a lot about people just from the little details. But when you move into a city and you don't know any of these people, and it's got its own fashion, it's got its own dress style, everyone's got their own, unique way of doing things. It's weird. Like, I didn't know the difference between who was more dangerous, the goth or the Raji. Like, the guy with the can of Stella on a park bench, or some long-haired goth guy, like with a leather trench coat and boots that looked like they came from hell. Like, how was I supposed to know who was more dangerous? There was no way to know. No way. So even though I'm an English person, I had the same experience as this person who came from China, because I moved from one end of the country to the other. And believe you me, things in the north are not the same as the south. They are just not the same in any way, shape or form. Just, it's a different world up here. Like, people work so hard for so little. Whereas down south, I feel that hard work is rewarded a lot more than it is in the north. I think the north is pissed on by the south, being honest. And there's nothing the north can do about it. And the southerners all think it's funny. But if I banged on about it, it'd cause a civil war. And I don't want that for my country. I want us to be stronger, not divided. So I say nothing.
With that, but now she kind of gets an idea who to steer away from it in the street.
How do you see it going then? I mean, tomorrow's front pages or Thursday's front pages, if you're watching us in the morning. There's a lot of migrant stuff here. There was a lot of migrant stuff yesterday. There's probably going to be even more tomorrow. It seems like at the moment there's a story every single day about it all.
Wouldn't be if he's listened and just implemented my solution. I've literally already solved the problem. Just implement the solution and it's finished. It's done. There's no more illegal migration. The doors are shut, all right? All you have to do is implement my solution. It's not hard. It's a lot easier than setting fire to hotels. It's a lot easier. I've already got the solution. You just need to get the government to do it. That's all it is.
Do you think we are in line for a summer worse than last year when it comes to...
That's what they were saying. But look, at the end of the day, look at what happened last year. They sped up the arrest and information was eventually provided. But I think if the police come out, local authorities come out and actually inform the public about what is actually happening to these hotels, then I think that will just reduce the lack of...
Do you think that that's the key? I mean, if you could sit down with Keir Starmer now and say, right, based on my experience, this is what you should do to stop any unrest, what would you tell him?
I'd just tell the public what's happened with the hotel, tell them how much it costs the taxpayer, what you're going to do in the future, if they are going to close it, as and when, and then that will just stop the kind of protesting and further rioting, if that is...
I mean, sure, closing these hotels will stop the protest outside of them, but we still have the problem of mass illegal migration. That is the problem. So what the government is doing is reacting to problems as they happen, when what they should be doing is preventing the problem from ever happening again. Reaction is always great, Medicine is the same. They think reaction is, the boy. But it's not. Prevention is better than cure. Because if you prevent a problem from ever happening, you don't need the cure in the first place. It doesn't take a rocket science to work that out. So you prevent a problem from happening and focus on that rather than curing the issues that are being created by it. It's not rocket science. It honestly isn't.
what
It's
happened.
a radical idea to ask him to tell us the full truth.
Well, that's what the public want. That's what people
The
want.
thing is, they're particularly
I think asking Keir Starmer to tell you guys the truth is asking too much. He U-turns more than a German U-boat. It's the best I got. Best I got.
poor at communication. That's the trouble. That they haven't told the story, they haven't told the plans, they haven't told. They just have not communicated sufficiently with the public.
All right, well, loath as I am to promote anything on Channel 4, I believe that legally I should do, and I'm very grateful for Wesley for coming in, so why not? You can watch what... No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to do that in a second. OK. All right. Right, anyway, so Emmanuel Macron is going to court with Candace Owens. Plus, could we sue...
Just do a DNA test on his wife. That'll prove if she's a man or not. Anyway, thanks for joining for this stream. Thanks for Wesley for the content and being on GB News. I don't normally watch GB News, to be honest. I comment on all their stuff, you know, on Facebook, but I don't watch it. This is a very rare thing for me because I feel that they're a very politically biased channel. They are essentially Reform's propaganda machine, and I understand that it's a hole in the market that they filled, but they themselves don't tell the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. What they do is pick and choose which truths to tell, and I'm not down for that, so I don't watch. So thanks very much for watching my channel. Thanks very much. See you later. Bye-bye.